What's happening, party people? Go ahead and give me that thumbs up and like. I appreciate your support. Man, I made it to Texas last night, but not without incident. I was driving about 3-4 hours and I started smelling something that smelled like wires was burning. Popped my hood open. Couldn't quite tell what it was, but it turned out it was smelling like clutch material. I knew my trans was going fine, so I start poking around. My AC clutch burned up, knocked out my AC. So I cut it off, kept driving. About an hour later, maybe an hour and a half, pulled over for lunch. Man, that car was making such a racket under the engine, I started remembering that the timing belt path had a noise. So I had lunch, come out, try to investigate that. Looking around in there, it sounded like a barrel of marbles resonating through the engine. So I thought, man, I better replace something in that timing belt path and check those parts. So I dug through the back of my car, found the idler. I thought that might have been my culprit. Pulled over by the Tesla charging area and pulled my timing belt apart to replace that idler roller, and did find an OEM one used in my car that seemed like it's in good shape, and realized that freaking harmonic balancer was bad. It was actually turning on the inside and not that much on the outside. When I was adjusting the timing, I could see that twerking happening, making a noise. So anyway, I replaced that idler and started the car. It was still making a noise. Turned out it was an AC compressor that, even though it wasn't engaged, the pulley is just making a racket right now. So I felt comfortable enough to press on. I had another 5 hours to drive. So the first day I traveled about 18 and a half hours. The second day, I was 11-hour drive, added almost 2 hours on for that mishap. So that was a 13-hour travel day. Made it here last night about 10 o'clock, and all is well. So me and Mita had some things to do today, getting ready for our nuptials on Friday. And hey, just take it one day at a time. So in today's video, I was in Las Vegas doing some work for one of my viewers. I got a lot done on his cars, and I hope you enjoyed the clips. Thanks for watching. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Kicking off the Tinker Day on this 2000 V70. We've done seat skins on, stuff like that. He had a rattle in the trim for the sunroof. It wasn't snapped in all the way. When I bumped it to snap it in, it snapped off. Every time I bumped it to try to get it secure, it cracked. So we got 6 pieces there now, and you can't get those no more. I believe I have a 960 trim piece that we'll put in here and replace this with, but this stuff is old and brittle. You can't get it anymore. Here's our punch list. So we're going to start this list here. We're going to start off with the hood latch piece, which is a very common piece that wears out on these things. Here's that piece and the part number. Let's open the hood and get cracking. So here's how that looks. One side cracks, the other side doesn't, and then sooner or later the other side cracks. So it's got a little tab to release it there. Oh man, that one actually snapped back in place. I don't know why it was snapped out of place, but it actually did not break. It was out of place somehow, but they get old and brittle. Let's go ahead and replace it. So that side was snapped out. What you do, you get a screwdriver or something, and you pull this little tab in toward the back of the car, and you lift it up on both sides. Let's do that. All right, take this, lift it up, lift it out, and push it up. So, see how it unclips there? Let me push it with my other hand. And then it'll be out like that. Let me do the other side, and then we'll unhook it from that there. Real easy thing to do. Let me push that up. And it comes out like that. Let me unthread that like that, and then we're just going to hook that new one in and latch it in place. So this smooth part goes toward the car and it latches in like that. So let's go ahead and feed this in here like this. And like this. Then we're gonna hook this in like this. Nice and easy. There it is. Both sides are in. That's in. You know this thing is going bad and it needs to be replaced whenever you go to lift the hood up and that thing is spread out extra wide. It feels funny. So now it won't feel funny when I put my hand under there to do the emergency release. Feels nice and steady, not shaking around. So if this thing shakes around, it needs to be replaced. It's nice and steady now. One thing down, more things to go. Since I'm in here, I see that this fan thing is not properly in. I'm gonna go ahead and secure that properly. We got that secure. However, the two screws that hold the shroud to the top of the radiator are missing. When I tried to install two screws there, the receivers for those screws are also missing. So couldn't do that another time. Let me put this clamp in the right position. You see that clamp there? It's supposed to be down here. Made in Romania. We're going to go ahead and replace these. Videos are linked in the description area below. As you can see, that thing is leaking. That's normally the beginning of the end. This one doesn't have any pins in it, which is nice. So you lift up on it, take the pressure off of it, and pry it out. Now, for some reason, you can't lift it up enough to pry in. This end up here has two screws you could take loose. You take those screws loose, slide it wherever you need it, pop the new one in, hold it up, snug those two screws back down, and you're good to go. I've heard of people fighting this thing for way too long because that bracket's not where they need it to be, but that's your savior right there. We got these from IPD. They are the good ones. So you see from halfway up, you let it go, and it opens up nice and slow. It doesn't abruptly and violently open up on you. Those are the good ones. Next on the list is the door panel. Lower clips not secure. Actually, the door panel is not secure. The clips are. So this door panel needs to be glued in here. I wonder if we should just glue it in here without taking it off. That'd probably be the smart thing to do. Let me see if I got some contact glue to give that a try. I put as much contact glue in here as I could, letting that set a few minutes. Then we'll press it together and hopefully it'll stick. In the meantime, I'm going to put this shifter bulb in here. So let me take this center console up, slide that shifter bulb under there, and fix that. Got the light bulb replaced, used contact glue to glue that boot back in, got it all back together. On to the next one. Sunroof. Broke that. Let me see if I got something in my car for that. Check power steering leak. That's dry. And we want to do the backup camera system. We don't have that handy. We need some connections for that, so we're going to wait on that. What I would like to do for that backup camera stereo situation is find some male plugs to plug this into in here. I don't know if I could do that or not, so I guess I'll have to go tear open a car and see if I can find some black connections with some wires in them because I think I need at least 2 to pull this off. Like a power amp wire would be good out of like a C70 or something. So let's take a look, see what we need. So we want a male end that can plug into here with wires on it, so we can wire that. And we want a male end that can plug in on this. This kind of looks like the wire harness stuff that goes on the, what do you call those things, blend door motors, but we need the other end. And this may be a plug similar to the ones that go in the door. So I'm gonna go to the salvage yard, cut these 2 off, and then try to find plugs that plug into them so that we can wire in this new stereo system without damaging the harness in the car. I really don't like damaging the harness in the car. So I'm gonna head to the salvage yard, pick up the spring compressing tools, and come back, because I got to do some spring seats in that other vehicle. First thing on the list, we need to get some fabric to do his pillars. Sunroof fabric may be messed up too. Cabin air filter and a backup camera if we can. Here we are, folks. The happiest place on earth. We are here in Las Vegas. Gonna go hit a couple of vehicles. Hopefully a V70 wagon is still here. Let's see here. Do 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 do. Yes, sir. A 94 850. This thing got that extra computer. Somebody's already taken the radiator out of here. And let's see what's going on. There ought to be a couple things we can get off of this thing. The alarm horn is in good shape. And somebody still has an oil cap on it. That's good. Let's see here. Man, I like this color. Tires look really good too. Man, I thought they were Michelin for a minute. This got the 5 lug wheels on it. Here we are. This V70. I'm glad it's still here. I took a couple of things off this last time, but I got a guy need a steering rack. There it is, folks. The steering rack is removed. I don't think this was on the car too long because all the bolts came out really either. There it is. Volvo rack. Gotta go ship that out. Power steering reservoir hose was leaking. We replaced it with an aftermarket one. And it keeps trying to touch this belt. So we're trying to be careful with this Rains hose that it's not rubbing that belt. I'll come check it here in an hour and see if it's touching. So we are going to get on these strut mounts over here. Let me crack this up, get this wheel off, and get started. We are doing the spring seats. Got the spring compressed. I seen it come up there. Pop that bolt off there. Pull this thing apart. Put some new spring seats in it. These bump stops. Who knows if the struts are any good. I didn't test drive it. But we're going to have new spring seats. For some reason, this T-nut's real tight, so I'm going to try a bigger wrench. 1 down, 1 to go. We're going to keep cracking until 8 o'clock. So let me put this wheel on here and torque it on and go to the other side. The cap rolled way into the car on the other side, so I'm going to get that. It is 8:09. Brake hoses are cracked. We're going to redo the brake hoses in the morning, so we're going to call it a night. Shut this down. This strut's done, but I broke the clip that holds the ABS wire in there, so I got to stop by the salvage yard and grab a couple of those tomorrow, and we'll pick this up tomorrow. Well, that's it. Time for me to get on with my day. I appreciate your support. Hope you learned something today, and hope you have a great day. So if you got one of these P80B cars, I call them, S and V70 cars, you do want to replace that clip before it breaks. If you haven't done it, just replace the thing because it's probably brittle, and one of these pulls is going to crack on you. So that's a consideration. The part's cheap, few bucks. Just replace them every 10 years or so and you'll be fine. Thanks for watching.